Hi all humans, hi all non-humans. I had so much fun doing this yesterday that I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do another one today. Plus, I wanna get through this book. I wanna get through the torture and move on to the next torture. Also, I needed an excuse to finish my jam jar bottle. So, no adult gummies this time, just leftover dregs of sadness and self-hatred. No, just kidding. Also, I do kind of enjoy this. When this is so like wino lonely cat parent. Like, it's not really drinking alone if the cat is home, which the cats are always home. So I'm never drinking alone. I'm always in good company, and who doesn't love a good jam jar anyway? So, not sponsored. Hashtag not sponsored. Anyways. Maintaining the like cool, chill, maybe not so cool, but chill. Don't really give two shits about what I'm doing right now. Just gonna keep reading this horrible book together. And I was thinking, because this is not a public video, maybe I'll make it public someday. I don't know, depends. I'm just gonna put the link for the next video in the previous one. So like, for the next video, I'll put the link in the description for this video. And for this video, I'll put the link for this video in the previous one's description. So it'll just be like a chain. If you want to watch the next one, just click on the link in the video. It'll take you to the next one. Cool. Hope that makes sense. Probably doesn't. Anyways, I rewatched these and I just go, what the? But it's fine. It's fun. Alright. So, since I want to try and keep it shorter, we're going back to Kiss of the Basilisk by Lindsay Strout. Let's do this! Alright, we're gonna get through this. So, real quick recap. Our protagonist, Miss Temperance Virus, found herself in front of the caves. Well, no, had gone inside the cave and finally had met her basilisk. Which she is to learn how to fuck. She needs to learn how to be a proper seductress from, so that she can marry the prince. Because that all makes sense. Anyways. I can't believe I'm doing this. Oy vey! The things I do for fun. Also, like, if I start coming up against weird things, I'll try and be preemptive and be like, trigger warnings! But, Chapter 2. He wasn't at all what she had pictured. Somehow, in her imagination, he never had a face. Tem's version of the basilisk was always a mystery. A featureless creature with nothing distinguishable about it. A blank canvas that couldn't be identified as anything remotely close to human. And you're expecting that you're going to learn how to have sex from a weird creature? I mean, girl, I'm not kink shaming, for sure. But the real thing was completely different. The real thing looked like the most searing, attractive man Tem had ever seen. Of course. He was an amalgamation of every feature she'd ever found beautiful, so much so that Tem wondered briefly whether it was on purpose. So they basically took like all these magazine cuttings and put it on him. He really does look like a Picasso painting. Basilisks were known for their powers of seduction, after all. He had tailored himself to look like this, knowing it would appeal to her. He was tall, so much taller than her. 8 feet tall, even. Just kidding. So much taller than her, with broad, proud shoulders rather than shy shoulders, and rigid... I already started. I'm sorry, we're never going to get through this. I'm the worst. He was tall, so much taller than her, with broad, proud shoulders and a rigid posture. The firelight flickering over his face accentuated his features, which were a mesmerizing sculpture of sharp, unforgiving angles that made him look like he was carved from stone and could possibly cut you at any point if you looked at him wrong. His dark hair was longer than the current style, but somehow it suited him. Hold on, let's get a little bit more cozy. Hi. Alright. He was wearing a light linen shirt and trousers. Alright, I'm down with the linen. Love me some linen. He was wearing a light linen shirt with trousers, both of which did absolutely nothing to hide the hard outline of his body. Ooh. Warmth. It was all she felt. When the basilisk stepped forward, Tem's mind went completely blank. What kind of voice should I give him? Oh, God. What's your name? He asked, his voice deep, glowing murmur. Glowing? I don't have those superpowers. Tem's voice seemed to have stopped working. Temperance, she managed to whisper, but I go by Tem. There was a fireplace set into the stone wall, its flames reflecting his golden eyes. Eyes that, if he were wearing his true form, she knew would kill her. The basilisk tilted his head, appraising her. His gaze made her feel so exposed. My name. Oh, hold on. Deep voice. My name is Caspian, but I go by Caspin. Oh, God. Sorry, I'm like aching myself out. Caspin, she repeated, his name a rock in her throat. There was a long silence, and in it he studied her. Tem had a sudden fear that he would reject her right then. Was it possible to be expelled from the training before it even began? She had never heard of that happening, but she wouldn't be surprised if it happened to her. Because, of course, tragic hero. Before she could truly panic, he spoke again. You were afraid, he said. Tem nodded, because of course it was the truth. He stepped closer, and her throat closed completely. She's asphyxiating, guys! Call the ambulance. There is no need to be afraid of me. I'm not afraid of you. His head tilted to the other direction. Then what are you afraid of? Tem didn't know how to put it into words, so she simply said, failing. The basilisk frowned. At what? She started, but didn't know how to finish. Sex, he finished for her. Tem wasn't used to that word. Her mother certainly never said it out loud, and Vera always called it making love, which was objectively atrocious. Yeah, I can agree with Tem on that one, for sure. Tem herself had never heard it from a man's mouth. This woman, I'm telling you, she's never spoken to a dude in her life, apparently, except a gay one, and apparently her gay friend never used the word sex. Just, wow, the infantilization of a 20-year-old woman. Just why? Why do we need to have virgins in books? Like, these books are made for, like, I can't say that this is a young adult novel with the amount of smut that is supposed to be in here. And maybe it is for young adults, but even as we were all teenagers once. You're gonna tell me that as a teenager y'all didn't know these things? Even if you didn't do anything, y'all didn't know these things? Like, come on. Like, she's supposed to be 20, not 12. This is extremely aggravating to me. Whenever she had thought about this training in school, the lessons were taught by women. But those lessons were years ago now, and Tem rather wished she'd paid more attention during them. I suppose, she whispered. Do you consider me an incapable teacher? The basilisk asked. I don't know the first thing about you. Caspin smiled a little at that. Something inside her untangled. The prince has chosen my students for generations. Rest assured I will not allow you to fail. Tem's mouth dropped open at the revelation. If what he said was true, it meant that Caspin was the Serpent King, the legendary basilisk whose power was far superior to all of the others. His reputation was exemplary in the village. People talked about him like he was a god. Tem had the most coveted teacher. Rather than easing her mind, this information did the exact opposite. Now she felt even more pressure than before. If she failed to win the prince despite being trained by the Serpent King, it would be beyond humiliating. Her mother would never forgive her. Caspian was still considering her. "You do not seem desperate to be here," he said presently. His word was odd. Desperate? Tem frowned. "Should I be?" Caspian shrugged. "Most girls are. It is an honor to be chosen by the prince. An even higher honor to eventually be crowned queen. Do you not desire those things?" Tem thought about the question. Her mother certainly desired those things. It was the pinnacle of a societal achievement and the ultimate way to transcend their simple life on the farm. To be the best slut in the village. I can't. She knew how badly her mother wanted her to succeed. "Babe, you need to suck that dick so good." She knew how badly her mother wanted her to succeed. Needed her to succeed. But the truth was that it wasn't Tem's desire. She stood no chance with the prince. Schoolyard bullies had drilled that into her every single day since she was old enough to comprehend her place in the village hierarchy. She was so was she desperate to be here? See, like, the characterization, like, this is 1000% a Mary Sue. Like, the chosen one girl who hates herself, doesn't think she's special, but she's actually beautiful and amazing and good at all the things, even though nobody ever liked her and they all bullied her and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I want realistic characters. Can we stop? Like, I understand that all of us, particularly born women, felt so inadequate and horrible as teenagers. But I want more stories that empower us, not stories that reinforce those ideologies or those thoughts of, like, of course you're, like, not that you're worthless, but, like, I don't know. I feel like there's a different way to address the self-hatred. I mean, obviously that all comes from, like, cultural ideologies and cultural mentalities that have been imposed upon us. You know, women are supposed to be subservient and they're nothing and blah, blah, blah. And we hate things that teenage girls like. But I feel like there's a different way to, like, empower our young women, or women in general. Not just be like, well, look at this tiny little woman who also hated herself. She then becomes the princess chosen one. Like, I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think. Tem found that she was. Perhaps she wasn't desperate the way the other girls were. Perhaps she didn't crave the crown as Vera did. But she was desperate to be here in her own way. She wanted nothing more than to know what all the fuzz was about. To touch a man and have him touch her. To desire and be desired. See, those kinds of thoughts I can 100% understand. Like, those are very real desires that a lot of, particularly women, have had. That, to me, is way more grounded in reality than some other things. The Basilisk's voice cut through her thoughts. "You are free to leave at any time." Tem snorted and immediately regretted it. Caspian seemed amused by her reaction. "Do you not believe me?" "I'm not exactly in a position to leave." He cocked his head. "Is it not possible to effectively teach an unwilling student?" It is not possible to effectively teach an unwilling student. Tem supposed that was true. "Has anyone ever left the training?" she asked. "Once," Caspian said. For some reason, it looked like it pained him to say it. A second later, the discomfort vanished. "But she was not my student." Tem considered that. If it was true, it was unheard of. The training was portrayed as an honor for any girl born in the same year as the prince. Tem wondered why this particular information had been left out of the school curriculum. She thought of the girl who had sprinted back behind the wall and wondered if she would one day regret it. Okay. "Well," Tem said, jutting her lip, "I'm not leaving." Caspian's mouth twitched once more in amusement. He stepped closer, and every single cell inside Tem lit on fire. Tell me, Tem, have you ever been kissed? Tem blushed. She'd never even come close to being kissed. She'd realized suddenly that she might have asked Gabriel to kiss her. He was her best friend. Surely he would have kissed her, especially if he knew it would have settled her nerves. But it was far too late for that now. Now she was standing in front of Caspin, the Serpent King, and he expected her to be so much more than she was. No, she whispered, the word a pebble in the pond. Caspin smiled fully, baring his teeth. That's good, he said. It means there are no bad habits to unlearn. Oh, come on! See, I feel like that's like unhanded, or what do you call it? Kind of badly veiled slut shaming. Like, seriously. Whatever. The just like glorification of virginhood. Ew. Tem nodded, although she didn't quite believe him. She couldn't imagine it was better to have no experience at all. Thank you, you're right, Tem. And yet basilisks couldn't lie. They were fundamentally incapable of. Oh, so another fucking fairy playoff, like... who says basilisks can't lie? They're snakes. They're fucking shapeshifters in this case, like... At least that was what all the legends said. So he must be telling the truth. And if he was telling the truth, it meant Tem was better off than Vera. The thought cheered her immediately. Is that what we're doing tonight? She asked with sudden courage. Kissing? No. Caspin shook his head. I will not touch you tonight. Oh. He seemed to sense her surprise because he continued. Before we touch, I need to see you. Whoa, this is where it gets cringy because I'm reading a lot more. Okay. I'll try not to look. I'm not making eye contact with the camera. This is the last time. I need more alcohol. Okay. Okay. Anticipation. Oh, hold on. Before we touch, I need to see you. She frowned. You're seeing me right now? He smiled. Not all of you. Anticipation curled in her stomach. She remembered the dream, the warm darkness surrounding her. She remembered the feel of breath against her bare skin. She wondered if somehow it was Caspin's breath she had felt. If the dream was foreshadowing this. Of course it was fucking Caspin's breath, because of course he's supposed to be your fucking fated mate. Come on, this is so obvious. Blech. Write better. Write better books. She stepped back, He stepped back, splaying his hands palm up. Please. Whenever you are ready. Tem's heart leaped in her chest. She remembered that basilisks could smell fear. So they can't lie, they shapeshift, they can smell fear, they can smell your virginhood. She remembered basilisks could smell fear, and she didn't want Caspin to think she was afraid. And yet she hesitated, ideal meal. And yet she hesitated. She'd never disrobed before anyone. Certainly not a man. She was only ever naked at home when she bathed or when she touched herself. Because the rest of the time she was fully clothed. And even then she avoided looking at herself in the mirror. I mean, who does? I mean, I know some people do, but like, Dios, okay. The just clash, the clash of some of these things. There was nothing natural about this to her. She didn't know how to show herself to someone else. Oh my god, this is so bad, I'm drowning. Not even the dream could have prepared her for this. At her hesitation, Caspin clasped his hands together. All journeys begin with a step, Tem. She still didn't move. Her mother's voice was beating through her brain. You will do as he says and try to learn something. But Tem wasn't accustomed to following orders. It It went against every instinct in her body. It violated everything about who she was as a person. She couldn't just blindly obey him. She wasn't built that way. She never had been. This part, because I still remember some of the sections that I read here, doesn't make any sense to me. Like, at no point have we so far had a characterization of her being a rebel, of her being the type of person who doesn't follow orders, who's just kind of like against the grain. Like, it seems like this is just kind of shoehorned in here to be like, see, she's not like other girls type of shit. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't, at no point in time would I have thought that the shy virgin who's never had sex in her life but touches herself and is completely inexperienced and terrified of this and is bullied by people but doesn't do what the man tells her to do. Like, no, it doesn't make sense. It's not, like, it's back and forth characterization. She couldn't just blindly obey him. She wasn't built that way. She never had been. So she said, "You first." Because, of course, she's supposed to be witty and smart. Caspin's eyebrows shut up, then darted immediately together. At his reaction, a sharp knife of anxiety stabbed Temp's chest. "Do not offend him, or else he may not allow you to come back." Her heart dropped to her feet. What if she had just offended him? What if he hurt her? Or worse, what if he transformed into his true form, looked her straight in her eyes, and killed her? She would apologize. See, does that give you the sense of somebody who's like, "I've never done anything that I've been told before. I fight against everything. I fight against rule and law." No, like, Jesus. She would let go of her knees and beg for her, or she would get down on her knees and beg for forgiveness. She would disrobe and let him look at her as long as he liked. Before she could do any of these things, Caspin said, "As you wish." Now Tem was surprised. She had no idea whether anyone had requested this of him before, but there was no taking it back, and she didn't want to anyways. Oh my god, I can't, I'm gonna suffer. We're suffering. Caspin stepped forward, stopping only when he was a few feet away. He was so much taller than her. All 8 feet of it. She had to crane her neck to meet his eyes. See, he's 8 fucking feet. Crane your neck. He looked down at her calmly, as if this entire process was of no concern to him. And she supposed it wasn't. He'd seen dozens of girls before her and would see hundreds after. This was a duty for him, nothing more. For Tem, it was everything. Caspin removed his shirt slowly, grasping the bottom and pulling it over his head in an impossibly smooth motion. Half of him was still clothed, yet Tem could barely handle what she was already seeing. His body was unreasonably fit. So unreasonable. His torso corded with hard muscle. His trousers were slung low enough to reveal the sharp angles of his lower abs. I mean, I guess if he's got, like, that many abs, I guess it's unreasonable. The sharp angles of his lower abs, which pointed downwards like 2 arrows. Boing! Tem felt her entire face flush at the sight, accompanied by a wild urge to pull his trousers down herself. But Caspin's hands were already untying them, and before Tem could take another breath, they dropped to the ground. Caspin's cock was nothing like the ones on the marble statues leading up to the church. They're not baby carrots. They're full adult carrots. His was unfathomably long and straight as an arrow. Just what? What was it? I sent this picture to my friend, and she was like, I can fathom some pretty horrible ones, so unfathomably is just, But also straight as an arrow, like, because we can't have crooked penises here. Ain't nobody want a crooked penis. He wasn't even hard yet, and Tem was already wondering how the hell it was going to fit inside her. Jesus Christ, why is it like all male feet, like male protagonists are hyper attractive, hyper masculine, hyper muscular, with like insanely long schlongs, like just And all the female protagonists are virgins. Just, I hate all of this. She'd never taken anything that big. Well, obviously, you're a fucking virgin. She wasn't even sure it was possible. It was the perfect extension of him, exactly as formidable and as beautiful as he was. His penis. So formidable, and I struggle with that one. Formidable and beautiful. Tem stared at it in awe. Suddenly she understood his reputation as the Serpent King. He's the Serpent King because he's got an anaconda. I can't. Everything she'd ever heard about Caspian made sense now that she was seeing this final part of him. The way the villagers spoke of him in hushed tones. The way his girls were always chosen by the prince. All of it is justified by what was between his legs. How is the size and girth of his penis the reason why he's good trainer? Just... Misogyny has no gender. This is why men have penis envy. This is why men feel inadequate when they don't have a schlong that goes down to their knees, because they think that, and I don't know if women want this. No, most women that I know that are sexually active and have experienced sex and gone out aren't like, oh yeah, I want it to be as thick and as long as my arm. Most of them are like, no, average is good. We're fine. There's so many other things other than the penis. But like, you have a female writer over here writing about a guy who's got a massive schlong, and that is the reason why he's so good at his job. Misogyny has no gender. I hate it. I hate all of this. Why should he submit to anyone when he was superior in this most fundamental way? His penis is big, and that's why he's superior. Why secede his power when his was so much greater? His power is... Because obviously, power is directly correlated to penis size. Just... I need a drink. Okay. Tem was overwhelmed by the sight of him. She wanted to feel him inside her. Bitch, you don't know. You don't even... She wondered if he wanted that too. Immediately she banished the thought. She wasn't the first girl he'd had in his cave. And yet somehow it felt like it was just for them. For Tem. Caspian let her look, watching her reaction with the slightest trace of warranted arrogance on his face. Eventually he whispered, "Now you." It was only fair. Somehow her nerves had abated now that he was naked. Seeing Caspian vulnerable made Tem feel brave, and she knew she was ready for what came next. With steady hands, she unlaced her dress and let it fall to the ground so she was standing in her underclothing. Caspian's eyes didn't leave her as he said, "And the rest?" Tem pulled off her underclothing. The warm air in the cave caressed her skin, enveloping her in a breathless wave. It was impossible not to think about the fact that she was naked. But before she could dwell on it, Caspian circled her silently, looking her up and down. She looked at him too, observing the way he walked with undeniable control. Obviously, because he's got a massive schlong. His steps smooth against the roughness of the cave floor. She saw the way he observed her clinically, without emotion. Tem realized that while this was very new to her, this was absolutely nothing new for him. He had done this many times before. She was nothing but a number to him. He wasn't looking at anything he hadn't already seen. Of course she's gonna be a special one, and he's gonna fall in love with her because she's special, not like all the other girls. Finally, Caspian stopped in front of her. He studied her eyes, her cheeks, her hair. Eventually, his gaze slid down her neck to her collarbones, passing over her breasts and landing on her stomach. He extended his hands, the tips of his fingers mere inches from her skin. But he didn't touch her. Instead, she felt a sudden warmth below her belly button, and the firelight dimmed. "What are you doing?" she asked. "I'm checking to see if..." Oh! No! I might just end this book now. I might just be like, nope. Nope. I hadn't gotten past this. This is to the point that I got, because this is nope. "What are you doing?" she asked. "I'm checking to see if you are fertile," he said, without making eye contact. "And? Am I?" Caspin's eyes flicked up to hers. "Patient is a virtue, Tem." He said it like a reprimand. "Super fertility checking power is awake." Tem sighed. "So I've been told." His gaze returned to her stomach. Tem resisted the urge to tap her foot as she waited patiently for the examination to yield a result. She should have expected something like this. Sex and fertility were intertwined with the Basilisk's influence. It was rumored that they drew power from it, that their ability to seduce humans was intrinsic to their nature. It was the reason why they were tasked with training the prince's future wife. They were the only creature who could be trusted to mold girls into women. Ew, 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 ew. All right, I need to go to the bathroom. Hold on.